Good morning, guys. I hope we're all sparkly. We're going to talk about personalised medicine because we are all unique, not special, and there is a big difference. We do share commonalities, 23 pairs of chromosomes. We've got 2 of these, all sorts of things. But we are all biologically unique. When we think about hormones, your perfect testosterone level will not necessarily be the same as my perfect testosterone level. Now, I told some of my guys my levels, and they're all chasing them. Don't bloody try and be like me. Jeez, I'm a mess. Yeah, physiology changes. So what might be a perfect level for you when you're 19 may not really translate into a perfect testosterone level when you're 65. Why is that? Well, there's numerous reasons, and they extend obviously further than simple physicality changes. But do I want to be wired at 65 years old? Don't know. We'll see. So when we decide on a TRT protocol, we use benchmarks to decide what the protocol will be, and then we see how your body reacts to the testosterone and the HCG, and then we make the necessary adaptations to optimize your melandrin levels. Now, it isn't a sledgehammer approach. It is progressive and it's slow, because when you cause a physiological change through administration of testosterone and HCG, it will have an effect, cause and effect, and your body must react. You are giving it a hormone that it needs, but you want to make sure that you're giving it as close as damn it to how it would be produced naturally. Now, obviously, most guys have presented with either a primary picture, so a problem with the testicles, or a secondary picture, problem with the brain. So you have to make necessary adaptations to the protocol accordingly. So a guy with primary hypogonadism, testicular problem, won't respond as well to HCG as somebody with more a secondary problem, who is likely to have functioning testicles still. So the younger guys tend to have a more positive effect from the HCG, and the older guys need to rely more on the testosterone. So it's a titration process. It's not just titrating the free testosterone, estrogen, and DHT. You have to consider SHBG. So often, SHBG drops with low testosterone. Now, assuming you don't have any reversible causes and the testosterone improves with testosterone and HCG, then you go, wow, great, my levels are cracking now. But what you find happens is the SHBG rises the longer you are stable to find a natural level, because obviously SHBG acts as a buffer, and then you have to adjust your protocol accordingly. Once it's found its natural level, you're pretty much good to go, unless you make some drastic changes to your lifestyle. Now, if you start training, or if you train and then your training regime changes, you may well have to make a change to your protocol to react to that change in lifestyle. If you become a couch potato from being an athlete, you will have to adjust your protocol. You're more likely, obviously, if you put on extra adipose tissue, to increase your propensity to aromatization, and so your testosterone to estrogen ratio will likely be negatively affected and then you have to make a necessary adaptation to your protocol. But it really should be maintaining a healthy weight and avoiding alcohol and poisonous chemicals that pollute your liver. But as you get older, you might want to become a man of leisure, and no longer run ultra marathons and want to sit and watch Netflix with the missus with a bottle of wine. Now, I'm not here to judge you. The old Netflix and chill is a necessary part of life. But chilling too much, you're going to be in trouble, because your body needs to be active. Your body wants to be active every single day. Hunt and gather. Get up, hunt, get the food, chill, Netflix, and a bit. So yeah, medicine needs to be personalised. We tend to fixate on the one thing that's wrong. I've got low testosterone, so let's sort out the testosterone. Now, we've spoken numerous times about the need to address lifestyle, nutrition and exercise. But then you have to consider the other physiological processes, other potential pathologies. Now, having an abnormal thyroid can influence not only your testosterone levels, but also your sense of well-being. Now, if you've got low libido and testosterone does not cure your low libido, you need to again look for causation. So we always tend to fixate on things that we think that we can solve with a quick one swoop, but you do have to adopt a holistic approach, otherwise you will be bitterly disappointed and you'll just keep upping the dose. And whilst you may see a temporary improvement, ultimately there will be a negative health outcome from not actually addressing the person as a whole. So one of my guys brought his son to see me yesterday, 19 years old, plays rugby, just going off to university. So he wanted his son to have a benchmark. Now, at the Men's Health Clinic, what we do in our new patient consultations is obviously we do a thorough diagnostic blood workup, but we also pop the guys onto the InBody 770 medical grade scanner, which looks at the physical parameters, lean muscle mass, visceral fat, all of these things. Now, we did have a competition, and would you believe it, Dad won. This 19-year-old physically fit guy, rugby player, Dad won. Now, I'll tell you why Dad won, because it's not really a fair competition. Dad was a naughty boy in his past. So the in-body score weighs favourably with guys with increased muscle mass. And so so he did win by 1 point. So I can imagine the trip home was like, fucking yes. But he was at an unfair disadvantage. So I expect the son to overtake Dad in not too long. Sorry. So it's interesting. You can oversaturate yourself with too much information. I'm not a fan of these tracking apps and monitor things, because like the Aura thing and Aura Ring and Fitbit, whatever it is, because I think you can become a little bit too obsessed. And if you don't have the capacity to be objective, then it can ultimately be detrimental, and you can become so focused and so concentrated on something, the minutiae, you miss the big picture. So it's one of those things that lots of guys come to me for my advice. Some guys come to me for a testosterone prescription. They get booted out. because I'm not interested in a sales-consumer relationship. I'm only interested in a doctor-patient relationship. So yeah, we boot those guys out. I'm not interested in that. So one of the things is actually handing over a little bit of responsibility to somebody that can be objective. So I have my blood parameters, I have my markers from the in-body, and I have this 20 plus years NHS, lots of life experiences, so it's quite easy for me to empathise and relate to these guys. Whilst our journeys may not be identical, as we've discussed before, pretty much every story shares a commonality and similarities. So it's a matter of sifting through the bullshit and being able to be objective. And I think a lot of guys can't be objective, and the reason why they're sat here is because of that reason. They can't be objective. They've made some bad choices. We've all made bad choices, but sometimes you need to be told what to do. Now, this guy, obviously wise to the world, and he's going to tell his son exactly the same things that I could tell him. Don't do drugs, don't do steroids, don't do all these things. But if my dad told me something, I'm not being funny, as much as I love my dad, I'm not necessarily going to listen to him. So there's a minefield of information out there, and it really is difficult to know who to listen to. And the path of least resistance is obviously seductive. So what his dad wants is for me to be straight with him, which I obviously am. I'm not fluffy. I call a spade because I don't have time to be stupid, and the whole just drives me mad, all the guff that people speak, the agendas that they have. It just irritates the crap out of me. So you will always get the truth from me. I have no reason no agenda outside of acting in the best interests of my patients. So yeah, hopefully we're going to build up a relationship, and if he needs to talk to me, he'll talk to me. But what will happen for sure is he will have a benchmark to work from. So it'll be interesting over the years to see how his levels change and how that relates to his physique and parameters, and it'll be an interesting experiment, because one of the things that a lot of guys wish is that they knew what their testosterone level was when they were healthy, potentially to give them something to aim for when they're on TRT. Now, it doesn't unfortunately work like that. So as we've discussed before, physiology changes, and what might be good for you when you're 19 may not necessarily be good for you when you're 60. It might be, but again, you need to have somebody who can be objective. And so if he was presented with information when he was 19, and then he did a benchmark when he was 65 and said, right, well, I clearly need to be how I was when I was 19 because I was happy. Well, you didn't have a care in the world, did you? You know, you didn't have this happen, that happened, that didn't have a knock-on effect on this didn't contribute to this. And so there's a smorgasbord of factors that will influence whether you should be aspiring to the same levels that you had when you were 19. So again, it's all about objectivity and trusting in the process.